has loveliness to sell, all beautiful and splendid things. Blue waves whiten on a cliff, soaring fire that sways and sings. And children's faces looking up, holding wonder like a cup. Life has loveliness to sell, music like a curve of gold. Scent of pine trees in the rain, eyes that love you and arms that hold. And for your spirit still delight, holy thoughts that start a night. Spend all you have on loveliness, buy it and never count the cost. For one white singing hour of peace, count many a year of strife for lost. And for a breath of ecstasy, give all you have been or could be.
Because somewhere along the lines of aging and scrutiny and time, I was taught to despise myself. But I kept my body beautiful because someday someone could love me, and that's the only thing a little kid could ever want, right? I was 13 when I was first embarrassed about my body, and of course it would not be the last time. And I remember stuffing my bra in the morning, tears stinging my eyes, hoping and praying to something that today I could look beautiful enough for the ruthless bullies who called me worthless. And I would go home and put on a sweatshirt with my eyes closed because I didn't dare insinuate beauty in something so insulting as my body. But I mean, we all end up with our heads between our knees because the only place we'll ever truly feel safe is curled up inside skin that we were taught to hate, by a society that shuns our awful confidence and feeds us our flaws. And sometimes I need to find the me that loves me, and I can't find them. A reminder that the mirror is meant to be a curse. So I can find them in my mind, but when they scream to be let out, we're allowed to listen. Yet it's met by a course of egotistical narcissists. Conceited. But since when is self-substitute a sin? Since when was loving who we were made to be an offense made by morons who don't matter? Change this physicality of don't you shatter the illusion that you could be more than paper-fine flesh and flashing teeth and fingernails. Echoic accusations of not good enough, never good enough. Don't you ever feel so numb that it hurts? Entertain me. Whore. You can't surrender to them. You gotta remember that you're the only thing you'll ever truly have, and I don't mean your body, because that's gonna go bad one day, no matter what you do. I mean you. The way your eyes shine when you smile, or the way your voice is so melodic it's a song. I mean how your creativity is a compass that can lead you to whatever you love. And you don't need any miracle cream to keep your passion smooth, hair-free, or diet pill to keep your kindness slim. And if you start to drown in these petty expectations, you better examine the miracle of your existence, because you are so much more than a waistline. You're worth the beautiful thoughts you have and daring dreams, undone and drunk off alcohol of being. Because we are brought out of the womb and nursed and taught our first words by the media. Skinny equals pretty. Girls, soft, quiet, pretty. Boys, manly, muscles, pretty. But I don't care about your gender, your looks, weight, skin, or with whom your love lies. None of that matters, because standards don't define you. You don't live up to the credentials established by a madman, because you're a tan treasure whether you want to admit it or not. And maybe that's what people should start looking for.
A well-endowed cowboy, or to whom there still are a few, wanted to be properly clad for his first job interview. So to impress his potential and somewhat cynical boss, he has a silver-studded saddle thrown across his horse. He has a 10-gallon hat, a Stetson, if you please, and a bandana wrapped around his neck that catches the dusty breeze. The dude has a roll-your-own hanging from his hips and a shiny pair of 44s hanging from his hips. He has a hand-tooled leather belt of the finest grade, and a cowboy shirt and a vest made of top-grade suede. A woolly pair of chaps covers his bow-legged knees that protect his Calvin Kleins that fit so tight they squeeze. His gleaming pair of toe-yellow boots with the pointy toes completes what he considers the proper cowboying clothes. His silver spurs glint in the noonday sun. Ah, he's the ideal picture of a range-riding son of a gun. The boss, arms crossed, feet spread, sporting a knowing grin, didn't seem impressed, much to the green horse chagrin. Sizing him up, head to toe, he said, "Looks good, Nabal." Handed him a fork and a shovel and sent him to the stable.
Real just for that one day? The answer is yes. I am making excuses not to talk to them again. I need a reality check. I've said it when I haven't had science proof when I was 16.
Baby, I saw your name in the sky, but the wind blew it away. I wrote your name in the sand, but the waves washed it away. I drew your name in the dirt, but it perished with the rain. I placed your name in my heart, and forever I want it to stay.
Oh, is that it?
He said, "Speak to us of good and evil." And he answered, "Of the good in you I can speak, but not of the evil. For what is evil but good tortured by its own thirst? Verily, when good is hungry, it seeks food, even in dark caves. And when it thirsts, it drinks even from dead waters. You are good when you are one with yourself. Yet when you are not one with yourself, you are not evil. For a divided house is not a den of thieves, it is only a divided house. And a ship without rudder may wander aimlessly among perilous isles, yet sink not to the bottom of the ocean. You are good when you strive to give of yourself, yet you are not evil when you seek to gain of yourself. For when you strive for gain, you are but a root that clings to the earth and sucks. You are good when you are fully awake in your speech, yet you are not evil when you sleep while your tongue staggers without purpose. And even a stumbling speech may strengthen a weak tongue.
A.M. I open the doors to a building, dedicated to building, yet it only breaks me down. I march down the hallways cleaned up after me every day by regular janitors, but I never had the decency to honor these janitors' names. Lockers left open like teenage boys' mouths when teenage girls wear clothes that covers their insecurities, but exposes everything else.
Fuck, that's me.
This is a training ground where masculinity is mimicked by men who grow up with no fathers. Camouflage is worn by bullies who are dangerously armed, but just need hugs. Teachers paid less than what it cost them to be here. This is a training ground. My high school is in Virginia Beach, where social lines are like barbed wires, and oceans of adolescents come here to receive lessons, but never learn to swim. Part like the Red Sea when the bell rings. Labels like honors and regulars resonate. I'm in honors, but I go home with regular students who are soldiers in a territory that owns them. To sort out the regulars from the honors, a recurring cycle built to recycle the trash of the system. This is a training ground. Trained at a young age to capitalize. Now I'm taught that capitalism raises you, but you have to step on someone else to get there. This is a training ground. Where one group is taught to lead and the other is made to follow. No wonder so many of my people spit bars, because the truth is so hard to swallow. The need for degrees have left so many of us frozen. Homework is stressful, but when you go home and your home is work, you don't want to pick up any assignments. Reading textbooks is stressful, but reading doesn't matter when you feel that your story is already written, either dead or getting booked. Taking tests is stressful, but bubbling in a Scantron does not stop that bullet from bursting. I hear education systems are failing, but I believe they are succeeding at what they're built to do. To train you, to keep you on track, and to track down an American dream that has failed so many of us all.
This is slam.
My pledge of allegiance to me. There's more to me than the human eye can see. I'm a woman of purpose and destiny.
A perfect design. I am special and unique. I won't be identified by the parts that make up my physique.
My beauty is not defined by my skin or my hair, and my soul has more value than the clothes that I wear.
I'm not a symbol of pleasure or sex appeal. I have the natural ability to comfort and the power to heal.
When God created me, he created a gem because he fashioned me in the likeness of him. I refuse to do anything that would put God to shame. I deserve to be treated with reverence and called by my name.
I can't be purchased or sold at any price because I've already been bought and paid for by the precious blood of Christ.
So he said to me, "What kind of patient are you?" And I just laughed and smiled and said, "Well, that's kind of a loaded question. What kind of patient do you expect me to be? Because anyway, you just slide that egg roll and I'm still pretty much whatever you want to see." I play many far is stereotype, art of math genius, cold and calculated, kung fu expert. I am the foremost expert on all things Asians. Confucianism versus Taoism. I will give it to you with those lengths. What's different between stereotype 1 and 2? Well, let me tell you anything you want to know about my culture. Let me tell you about Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee and how they related by blood to me. Let me tell you about being so marginalized to the point of I can't really believe that Asians. Let me tell you about the struggle of Asian parents, not knowing the language. So we ate pet food because we're cheaper. Let me tell you about honor and dignity. Let me tell you about the society that projects us as nothing but the secondary role and never the leading man. Let me tell you all the things that you don't want to know.
No.
Let me tell you about all the things that you don't want to know, like how jeans comes from the planking myrtle to railroad, as the slave built train track for this country to be connected. We thought it was better than our war-torn home, and every time you confuse me with other nationality that I might share the similar feature to, it's stripping away my individuality, and I still feel the shame of being Asian. The anger that I felt when those kids thought that I would get them sick. And I still remember my thinking my skin was what I was worth. And I still feel the ironwork of my bone will grow stronger with every train of thought that's passing by. And I still feel pride, and I still feel heritage, and I still feel Vietnamese, and I still feel American, and I still feel.
Theirs is a tear in the world, a place no one else would cross. Theirs is a time that does not pass, an age for the exclusive pleasures. Theirs are the whims of gods. No one would oppose them. Theirs are ours to follow. They will teach, and we will learn.
I had a dream the other night. I did not understand. A figure said to me with flintlock in his hand, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave, in this the land of the free and home of the brave. This freedom we secured for you, we'd hoped you'd always keep, but tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave in this land of the free and home of the brave. You buy a permit to travel and a permit to own a gun, a permit to start a business and a place for one. On the land that you believe you own, you pay yearly rent, although you have no voice in choosing how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that does not educate, although you have no voice, does not educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to this state. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oath they swore. Your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Can you regain the freedom for which we fought or died? Or don't you have the courage or faith to stand with pride? Sons of the Republic, arise and take a stand. Defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great Republic and teach each God-given right, and pray to the Lord to keep the torch of freedom burning bright."
The world shudders and shakes when he stirs. Waves crash upon the shore, trying to escape his mad fury. He rips up the ground and breaks apart mountains. Cities of stone and of strength, once thought to be impenetrable, now bow to his mighty power. His voice slices through the air where there once was silence, and the people who once neglected him now quiver at the awe of his majesty. He is power at its most primal. He moves the mountains and tears open the sky. Wherever he goes, he leaves destruction in his wake. Powerful and strong, destructive and cruel, going through this world is a force to be reckoned with. He can fell the largest of armies, yet can heal the smallest of wounds. He is man.
The first time I realized I was black was in 2000. We had just learned about blacks for the first time in 2nd grade. At recess, all the white kids chased me into the woods chanting slave. My mother said I refused to come out for 3 hours. She said she thinks I was lost in the trees, but I just need to be closer to my roots.
As a woman, having a boyfriend is a battle. If 7% of us are abused in a lifetime, what is the number of men doing it? The answer is not one man running fast and light to complete a mission, and that is what leaves me sick.
The second day I realized I was black was at a gas station. I only had 25 cents, so I searched what to spend it on. The cashier floated from aisle to aisle, eyes fixed on my hands. That was the first time I realized skin color was a crime.
My body's from calls to write legislation, calls for butt smacks after class. My body has demanded everything except respect. I have been asked what makes me feel unsafe, and I struggle not to yell everything.
The third day I realized I was black was in an all-white cafeteria. I gathered my legs under me, made rockets out of my feet, and I approached a girl. She told me she wasn't into my type of guy. I felt her words shoot daggers into my melanin. I never wanted to disappear so bad.
As a woman, I have learned to answer to everything except my name. Little lady is not said to me equal, but said to make sure I remember my place. I battle between wanting to own my body and accepting that there's a 1 in 4 chance that a man will lay claims to my skin. A pot of land for the taking.
The last day I realized I was black was in an elevator in California. To the white woman who told me she knows what it's like to be black because she grew up poor. I would tell you to think before you speak, but your mind has got to be bacteria infected, and any filter through that labyrinth of nothingness might be worse than no thought at all.
There's a group of women giving their own personal definition of feminism. He's the only man in the room, and all of a sudden the tone switches from destroying the patriarchy by annihilating all men.
Do you know what it's like to be black, to pop lock your way in and out of hugs? It is not a problem that you want to sympathize, but to tell me you know my pain is to stab yourself in the leg because you saw me get shot. We have 2 different wounds, and looking at yours does nothing to heal mine. Every day is a crucifixion, and there is no regards for lines crossed.
I fight so my voice can be heard. I fight for the voices to be silenced.
The problem is you assume the struggle is attached to a social class. I am black and beautiful by nature, and ain't no income that can change that.
The problem for speaking up for each other is that everyone's left without a voice.
Allow me to introduce myself. Some of you may already know me. I don't mean to be rude or intrusive. I just thought it'd be fair to give you a warning. We may already be best friends, or you may hardly even know I exist. Either way, allow me to paint you some perspectives. On my campus, I walked down the halls of my high school, too cool to pray and too proud to pursue the vision God has planned for me. I'll say I'm waiting for some kind of confirmation or sign while I sit back and watch my classmates be blind. They have planks in their eyes, I'll say. I just had a little bit of sawdust in mine. Lord, this is not what I had in mind. I'm trying to be a light, but it's too dark in here to shine. I will justify and rationalize and nullify the pain of watching my closest friends die. I am the heart and heart of Christianity. Will me, myself, and I are doing just fine within the confines of the church property lines. We are seeing more and more come to church every single week, while still experiencing defeat on our own city streets. 7 days without Jesus makes 1 week. That's one of my favorite games, is hide and go seek. Seeking Jesus at church, but hiding the rest of the week. And I'm known to feeling sympathy, passion, a stranger to me, as if doing something about injustice is actually my responsibility. I'm too busy with my own calling and what God has for me than to do anything about the calling that He's placed right in front of me. But I'm such a good actor. I could fool Steven Spielberg. The performance I put on at church is superb. My script is filled with mighty adjectives but lacks the verbs. I have won the Hypocrisy Oscar Awards. You see, I learned of emotions until I became a master of disguise, but I could hide from the master of disguise. But my own theories were so divine, so I disconnected from the vine, telling everyone else where to find Christ, and never allowing Himself to move in my life. But I mean, my salvation is set in stone, right? I'm a Christian by tradition because, after all, I do celebrate Christmas. But these material presents are blinding me from God's presence. When I fight to save my family, coworkers, and friends, I have become a pacifist. But I'll sit in church saying getting well-fed while actually lacking the spiritual nutrients, starve myself from fasting so becoming well-fed was really becoming sick, refuse to partake of the bread daily so I became anorexic, developed a gag reflex so I spat out the same regurgitated message expecting those around me to openly digest it. You see, I have a confession. I am the victim. I long for redemption. I'm sick of saying I don't hear anything from God when really I won't listen. I'm tired of these conditions. Side effects, heart attacking me, searing the freedom that once pumped through these arteries. They put my heartstrings into custody, handcuffed my destiny to apathy. Cardiac arrested me when all I needed was arresting me. No other leading cause of death is heart disease. But even though these bones have been dry for so long, I can still hear the still small voice calling the sleeper to rise. Because where there is death, he breathes life. He says, I will take your cold, callous heart and replace it with mine. Let me exchange your heart with its original design. So yeah, they do have pinks in their eyes, but you know what? So do I. But Jesus was the greatest carpenter of all time. He could craft destiny out of every lumber found in the eyes of mankind. He enabled Noah to build an ark, Solomon to a temple, and out of the very trees that he himself rooted in the earth, he would one day plant a seed that would give birth to the very tree that he would hang on to show your worth. So I refuse. I refuse to drown in the same waters that he walks on, because even though it was locked as the still doors of my heart, he himself knocks on it. So if you identify with any of the hardened heart symptoms, listen. Stop buying into world sales pitches and slogans, because they will leave you broken at the cost of your emotion. But Christ is in the business of putting frozen hearts back in motion. His unconditional redemption is available 24/7 with his arms wide open. Because our cold, callous hearts are like God's glow sticks. In order to shine, they must first be broken.